Fulmer deals. Peralta grounds one through. Tying run is in. Winning run comes home. The throw is late. Dodgers win. David Peralta, tonight's hero.
Happy Walkoff Sunday, Dodgers fans. What a night it was last night. What a day it was yesterday in the organization. James Outman, Miguel Vargas, David Peralta, they team up for the walk-off last night. Michael Grove, what a performance for him. I could not be more proud of the Wheeling, West Virginia native. We're going to get into all that. And the organization overall, they won 4 out of their 5 games yesterday. Great Lakes had a really good game with Dayton, but couldn't pull out the win. But other than them, everybody won yesterday. So what a Saturday it was in the organization. And we're going to talk all about it. So we have a very, very, very busy show. But before we get into all that, hey, just a reminder, if you'd like to help Dodgers Daily, we have now a link in the description to help donate. You can follow that link. You can donate whatever it is that you would like to help Dodgers Daily grow. If you don't want to, no big deal at all. I will keep doing this. This is a passion of mine. It is a hobby. I will keep doing it for free. But if you'd like to help, that link is there in the description to donate to Dodgers Daily. Also, hey, if you like this video and if you like this kind of content, go ahead and click that like button, leave a comment, tell all your friends about Dodgers Daily, and, spread the word. Help just share the word about Dodgers Daily. Help us keep growing. Become a subscriber, and after you subscribe, click that notification bell. That way, every time Dodgers Daily releases a new video, you'll be notified. Dodgers Daily can keep growing, and we can keep doing what we love to do. That's providing you videos like this. Okay. Again, what a day it was yesterday. Michael Grove, fantastic performance. Only 2 guys got into scoring position. The bullpen was simply fantastic. There was drama at the end. There was great play. 4 guys that weren't on the roster last year, Michael Grove, James Outman, Miguel Vargas, David Peralta, they team up to come up with a big 1-run win, which we're going to get into the 1-run win situation later. But hey, let's go ahead and talk about the Los Angeles Dodgers' big win last night against the Cubs. So let's not waste any more time and let's talk Dodgers baseball. So the Dodgers win their first 1-run game of the season. They're now 1-2 in 1-run games for 2023. Michael Grove, he went 5.2 innings. Boy, he was fantastic. 6 strikeouts, just 2 walks for the Wheeling, West Virginia native. I am so proud of him. I don't think, most people don't realize just how difficult it is to not, of course, he's getting some runway here, which is better, but, he was kind of on that taxi plan last year, the up and down type of deal. But, hey, he was battling in spring training and got beat out by Ryan Pepio for that 5th starting spot. Pepio went down, unfortunately, with the injury, and so Michael Grove got inserted. And the first start, he was good. He was really good through 4, and then had some unlucky breaks there in the 5th inning. And then the second outing kind of went sideways on him. Well, not kind of. It went sideways on him. So here you are. You're in your 3rd start, and you don't know how many more starts you're going to get. And boy, you just go out there on your nails. And here's the thing about him that you got to root for him, because when he was at West Virginia, halfway through his sophomore year, he went down to the Tommy John surgery. So he missed the back half of his sophomore year at West Virginia, then missed his entire junior year. And then not having pitched in a year and a half, the Dodgers still drafted him. He got to pitch a little bit coming off that Tommy John in 2019. Then 2020 hit. So really, basically, if you do the math and just kind of back that up, 2020, then 2019, he was coming off the Tommy John, so the pitch counts were very low. 2018 he missed, and then half of 2017. Basically, that's 3.5 years that he had not pitched. And then all of a sudden, 2021, he makes it all the way up to AA Tulsa. His pitch counts are up to maybe 65, 75 pitches, okay? But still, that's a long haul from, not really even pitching in competitive games for 3.5 years to pitching against professional competition in 2021. And then the jump from that to being in the major leagues the very next year, that's a very fast track for a guy who really hadn't pitched a whole lot in a long period of time. I like to bring that up because, the pace that he's on, of course, he's extremely talented. The fastball is big. I have a feature on him. As athletic as he is, the positions he's able to get in his body in, he's able to be very deceptive with his locations because, a lot of pitchers, they have to land their landing foot towards the spot they're locating. So if you're wanting to locate it to the arm side, you land a little bit further to the third base side. If you want to locate it, to the glove side, you land your front foot closer to the first base side, that kind of thing. He doesn't have to do any of that because he's so athletic. He can land in the same spot every time. Literally every single pitch that comes out of his hand looks identical between his fastball and his curveball and his changeup in terms of, the motion and the slot that it comes out of his hand with. So there is a lot to like about Michael Grove. The curveball is big. He was just a fantastic football player there at Wheeling High School, Wheeling Park High School there in Wheeling, West Virginia. And kind of an anecdote about him, his high school coach, Mike McLeod, who is just legendary. He was a first round, I believe, don't quote me on this. I think it was a third-round draft pick by the Oakland A's. And, there's kind of a competition between his former high school coach, Mike McLeod, and himself, talking about Michael Grove. Hey, who's the greatest high school athlete ever to come out of Wheeling Park High School in Wheeling, West Virginia? I asked Michael that last time I had a chance to talk to him about a month and a half ago, and he kind of giggled and said, hey, I think I got him in baseball now. I would say you do, Michael. Congratulations. What a job last night. Again, 5.2 innings, 1 run, 1 hit, 6 strikeouts, just 2 walks. What a fantastic bounce back. Just the 1 home run gave up, and other than that, only 2 runners were in scoring position all night against him, so he was completely dominant. That is the Michael Grove that we all know is inside of him. That's the Michael Grove that's going to be a good major league pitcher for a long period of time. If you can't help it, I'm super excited. I love this young man. He's just such a wonderful, he's polite, he always responds to messages. He takes his time to make sure that the people around him, have what they need in terms of, him responding and that kind of thing. You just got to root for Michael Grove, so I'm super excited for him. Beyond just the fact that the Dodgers won another game on a personal level, it's super exciting for me. Okay, and then another thing that's very exciting, we had talked about some of the problems being only 500. The bullpen had been leaky. Not last night. Boy, I know, Yency Almonte left with a little bit of a mess on the table, and then Fergie came in. How about that? Striking out 2 runners with the bases loaded. That was fantastic. The bullpen, this is the bullpen that we're used to. Zeros. That's how you win games like this, Hey, you blank the other. This is how the Dodgers have lost games like this so far this year. Hey, they score a couple runs early, and then the last 4 or 5 innings, they don't score at all. When your bullpen does that to your opponent, that really puts you in a great situation. The Dodgers are not able to win this game if the bullpen just gives up 2 runs. They probably, especially after the first out's made in the 9th inning, that comeback probably doesn't happen if the Dodgers are down more than even 1 run. So, the bullpen had to be perfect last night. Alex Vesia, Yency Almonte, Caleb Ferguson, Shelby Miller in a high-leverage situation. Again, he is just throwing lights out. So the bullpen was zeros last night. So, I talk about the process. I talk about, hey, don't necessarily worry about the results, the overall record, although the results do matter. So what was the process last night? Hey, your bullpen got back to work. Michael Grove showed us what he's capable of. And then the Dodgers figured out how to score that 1 run they needed to win a close game at the end. Those are all big parts of the process that, hey, we already know that the Dodgers are going to hit home runs. We know they're talented enough to win a World Series. My question is, can they execute well enough to win a World Series? They showed they did last night. And can they show that, hey, with their 4th and 5th spots in the rotation, can they win games? And, you're going to have to do that, to have a good season. So there are lots of parts of the process that would lead to be a world championship caliber team last night that the Dodgers executed. So from all those perspectives, it wasn't just another win. It was, it showed you that, hey, the process was good. Everything's lining up the way that you wanted it to, at least the way last night went, to help you become the type of team that you wanted to be. Another thing, I think a big part of this is that Austin Barnes threw out Suzuki stealing last night, and then that brings us to Will Smith, who has the illness. And how about his situation? The first reaction would be to bring up Hunter Fiducia, we saw he had a fantastic spring. He's off to a great start with AAA Oklahoma City. I love Hunter Fiducia, the young man out of he went to Barb High School in Louisiana, then he went to LSU Eunice, then he finished his last year at LSU. I love that young man. Okay, I don't think he'll be the one that gets called up, and I hate that. And this scenario, I'm sure from a business perspective, makes the most amount of sense for the Dodgers, but it sucks. I'm just going to point blank say it. I just can't agree with it if this happens. I don't like it. I don't think it's the right move from any perspective. Hey, there's business decisions, and then there's decisions that affect morale, and a lot of what the manager, a lot of people think the manager's biggest jobs is, actually managing a Major League Baseball game. You have so much data. That's probably, as far as figuring out the moves, being a manager, those are the easiest parts of it. That's what you've grown up doing as far as, hey, what's the matchup here? What's the matchup there? That kind of thing. The biggest part for a Major League manager is how to deal with the egos over 162, which is why the Dodgers love to bring in guys that, hey, they're very confident, but they're also very humble, because it makes it a lot easier to deal, in a 6-month scenario with all those guys being around each other for such an extended period of time. Okay, so, dealing with the emotions of people and just the camaraderie of it, and the chemistry, that's a huge part of developing a championship caliber team. And so from a business decision, here's what I think is going to happen. Patrick Mazika would get called up if the Dodgers needed to bring up a AAA catcher, and not because he's better than Hunter Fiducia, but because what will happen is they'll bring him up to Los Angeles, and then whenever Will Smith is healthy again, they'll designate Patrick Mazika for assignment. He probably won't get picked up. The Dodgers will get him back in AAA. They'll get the 40-man roster spot back, and everything will go back to the way it was. Whereas if you take, if you put Hunter Fiducia on the 40-man roster, on the 40-man, then the 26, and then you DFA him, he's a young prospect that will get picked up, and the waiver wires, you will lose Hunter Fiducia, and therefore the Dodgers don't want to risk losing him, and so they'll choose Mazika to have this time in the major leagues instead. My point with that is Hunter Fiducia has done exactly what he is supposed to do. If he does if he's good enough to get lost on the waiver wire, then good for him. He's blocked right now with Austin Barnes and Will Smith. That's an opportunity he's earned. I think the Dodgers should take that chance. I think they should now, if they think Mazika is the better player, that's one thing. I don't think that decision should be made from a business perspective. That should be made for, hey, we want to win games, so let's bring up the best player we can. Whoever the best player is, that's the player you bring up. And if you lose Hunter Fiducia, so be it. You have a ton of talent at the catching spot in the organization. Great for Hunter. That puts him on a different roster and gives him a better chance, to have a quality time at the major league level at the soonest rate. So, hey, like I said, make the decision based on who the best catcher is and not the guy that you think is least likely to be picked up on the waiver wire, which would probably be Patrick Mazika. I would not in any way, shape, or form, although from a business perspective, like I said, that makes the most sense. I would not in any way, shape, or form be in favor of that, because I don't think that's how you treat people. And I don't think in the long run, that's a championship way to handle people's contracts, because I think, hey, when you have guys that are in positions like Hunter and they've done everything you can, I think when they deserve the spot, if they are the best player, they should be the one that gets brought up. And like I said, the Dodgers have plenty of depth to absorb it if he does get lost. Remember, the number one prospect in the organization is Diego Cartaya. Dalton Rush and Gainer Fernandez is very good. Carson Taylor is very good. And so the Dodgers have a bunch of good catchers. I got a video of Jesus Galice, who's one of the catchers at Rancho. He's very good as well. So, hey, that's my talk on the Dodgers last night. It was walk-off Saturday night. It's walk-off Sunday morning. I am super excited about Michael Grove, James Outman, Miguel Vargas, all prospects from last year, all guys I've had a chance to talk to and communicate with on a somewhat regular of a basis. So super excited about that. Okay, fans, that is our segment on the Los Angeles Dodgers. Now it's time to turn our focus to AAA Oklahoma City, AA Tulsa, High A Great Lakes, and Single A Rancho Cucamonga. So let's not waste any more time. Let's get right to it, and let's take a trip down the farm. The AAA Oklahoma City Dodgers scored 3 in the third, 1 in the fourth, 1 in the seventh, and they defeated Sugar Land. It's always good to defeat any affiliate of the Houston Astros. Hey, they beat the Space Cowboys last night. They used to be the Skeeters. I like that name. But, hey, they're the Space Cowboys now. You know, the Johnson Space Center is there in Houston. So that's a name that suits them, the Sugar Lands in the area of Houston. The AAA Oklahoma City Dodgers, they won 5-2 last night in front of over 8,000 people at beautiful Bricktown Ballpark, downtown Oklahoma City last night. You were looking at Dylan Covey, who gave Oklahoma City a really good start, 4.2 innings. He struck out 6, gave up just one run. Remember, Dylan Covey was with the White Sox and the Red Sox. He has 264 and a third major league innings of experience. So the Dodgers signed him to a minor league contract, a free agency over the offseason. This is the exact kind of guy the Dodgers love, guys with major league experience. At least they love to fill out their AAA roster with guys like Covey with major league experience and a lot of it that they can, kind of let some of those prospects like the guys thrown to. There's Hunter Fiducia. We talked about him just a minute ago. Kind of explain to these guys like Fiducia and Ryan Ward, Devin Mann, the guys, the prospects that are up on the Oklahoma City roster right now, what the major leagues is like, what the routine should be like. Michael Bush is another one. And, kind of give an insight of the things and the process and the routines they need to get into to become a major leaguer. Well, what a great play by Devin Mann right there, huh? So Dylan Covey, again, perfect scenario for the Dodgers. Lots of major league experience, minor league contract, and so, hey, we'll monitor his progress. Victor Gonzalez and Justin Brule are both on the 40-man roster. So, hey, if you're ever going to bring somebody up out of the bullpen and you feel like the bullpen needs to be shored up a little bit, of course, it was fantastic last night. It went zeros and gave the Dodgers the time as they stabilized the game and gave the Dodgers time to finally get the offense going, of which they did in the bottom of the ninth. But Victor Gonzalez has been throwing very, very well. As a matter of fact, last night he threw his 4th scoreless outing in a row. His ERA on the year is just 1.5. His whip is under 1 at 0.83, and he has 10 strikeouts, just 3 walks. Last night, okay, he was throwing 96.5. So if you round that up, you could round that up to 97 for Victor Gonzalez. So the velo is there, the command is there, the body looks great, and that little cutter type pitch that he throws, I don't know exactly what he labels that, but well, that's a tough pitch right there. That's to a righty, where you can locate that thing low and away. That thing's tailing away from right-handers. It's a tough pitch. So Victor Gonzalez, again, if you round it up, 97 last night has been very, very good for AAA Oklahoma City. Wanted to give you a good look at 6'8". Yes, I said 6'8". Brian Hudson, who threw a scoreless inning for Oklahoma City last night. He's thrown in 6 games so far, Hudson has, and he has given up runs in just 1 of those outings. So he's been very good by and large for AAA Oklahoma City. One of those left-handers. Doesn't throw all that hard, 91, 92, 93, somewhere in there, but still good extension, so it does get on the hitter. You can see right there, he can jam hitters and make them late just with the extension he gets, being at 6'8". So although it's, hey, low 90s, it probably to a hitter looks like it's coming in at 96, 97, 98, something like that, because he delivers it so close to home plate. Dodgers picked him up in free agency over the winter. He's on a minor league contract. So, hey, you take the 6'8" body, you take the little slider pitch, you take the extension, you put it in the lab, the prior lab, you put it, there's that sweeping slider that I was talking about, that Brian Hudson has for the 6'8" pitcher. There's another sweeping slider. Hey, look at there. There's Hunter Fiducia. How about that? That's Hunter Fiducia's arm. I've showed you a couple of videos of Hunter Fiducia throwing down lately. So there it is right there. You got to see it really good as far as what he's capable of in the throwing game. So Brian Hudson, he threw another scoreless inning last night for AAA Oklahoma City. When you have Luke Williams and Michael Bush on the left side of your infield, we know Michael Bush has been playing some third base. Luke Williams a lot of times plays shortstop. That's a lot of offense from the left side of your infield. There's a good look at Michael Bush right there. Matter of fact, Luke Williams right there. That young man, he is absolutely out of his mind. He was 4 for 4 again last night. Look at that big crowd at Bricktown Ballpark. I love seeing that Oklahoma City supporting the Oklahoma City Dodgers like they did last night. Wonderful. Jeff Jackson is the groundskeeper there. Got to work for him for a little bit. He does such a wonderful job. The turf there is absolutely elite every single year. And Oklahoma is in one of those spots. Look at that great crowd. Oklahoma is in one of those spots of the world where it's cold in the winter, hot in the summer. So you have this big transition period in April and May. You lay down what's called ryegrass, which is winter grass that grows when it's a little bit colder. And then as it gets warmer in, say, May or June, then you transition over to the summer grass, which is called Bermuda, and it's always a fight every year. And Jeff Jackson, well, he is on top of it. He actually trained under the head groundskeeper at Oklahoma State University, which if you've ever seen the turf there, matter of fact, Oklahoma State is an agriculture university. They've actually created several different turfs, just invented them, including the turf that was used at the Super Bowl. So that's who Jeff Jackson, the groundskeeper at AAA Oklahoma City, that's his roots. And he actually also interned with the Philadelphia Phillies as well. So the grounds are always immaculate at the Bricktown Ballpark. I don't know how I got off on that tangent talking about Luke Williams, but hey, let's get back to him. He's absolutely out of his mind. He was 4 for 4 last night. He has 6 for his last 12 and 8 for his last 18. He's hitting .396 on the year. His OPS is 1204. He has hits in 11 of his last 13 games that he's played on the year, and he also already has 7 multi-hit games. Another young man on a minor league contract with major league experience that is outperforming his contract at this point. The question would be, if the Dodgers ever feel like they need to bring up another infield type player, okay, do they take somebody who's not already on the 40-man? So how do you kick somebody off that 40-man? That's the complicated scenario with guys like Luke Williams. But hey, if he keeps playing like this, I don't think he can be denied. The AA Tulsa Drillers defeated Midland again. They put on an absolute show. They won 12-5. They scored 1 in the second, 2 in the fifth, 5 in the sixth, and then 4 in the eighth to put the beat down on the AA affiliates of the Oakland Athletics, the Midland Rockhounds. You are looking right here at River Ryan, who, hey, had some command issues. I don't want to say issues, but what he did was, I'm getting to actually a compliment here. He grinded. You know, what I really like to see with pitchers, and, you know, you say this all the time in the game of baseball. Hey, what's going to make you great is not how you pitch whenever you have your A+ stuff. I mean, everybody can be good when they have their A+ stuff. How do you pitch when you don't feel like you have your total A+ stuff? Last night, I have not talked to him, so I don't want to speak for him, but I would have to say he probably didn't have his A+ stuff, and boy, he just absolutely grinded out a really good performance. He went 3 innings, he struck out 3, gave up just 2 hits, and just 1 run. That shows me a lot. You know, hey, it's one thing to see a guy, like I said, at his top end and say, wow, when he's great, he's great. But, hey, how is he going to be every single time he goes out? You know, you're not going to have your great stuff every time. So, to me, what's going to be the determining factor as far as, hey, can they stick? You know, your talent gets you to the major leagues and gets you some action. What keeps you there is your consistency. So, hey, what's a guy going to do whenever, you know, on just every single night out there? How is he going to be consistent? Last night showed me that River Ryan, not only is he great at the top end, he showed me that he has the ability to compete and to be very consistent and grind out wins every single time he goes out. And as a matter of fact, on the year, his ERA is just 1.29, and he features a 90s, very high 90s fastball, I should say. He might reach 100 sometime in his career shortly. He has a 4-seam that's high 90s, a circle change, a 12-6 curve, and a slider. The young man that was brought over for Matt Beatty in the trade with the Padres. Yorbit Vivas has been very, very hot for AA. I mentioned a couple days ago that, hey, he's been playing some third base. Cody Hosey's been playing some second base just to create some versatility to give him a wider path to the major leagues. I love when the Dodgers do that. He had 2 more hits last night. He extended his hit streak to 8 games. That means he has a hit in every single game this year so far. If you go back to last year, he had a hit in his last game last year as well. So he has a 9-game hit streak as far as the regular season goes. Okay, he's hitting .375. His OPS is 1130, 6 RBIs, 9 runs scored, 32 total bases. So Yorbit Vivas off to a very, very, very hot start for AA Tulsa. And again, he's on the 40-man, so that ought to tell you. Same with Eddie's Leonard, the young man you just saw cruise into second base there. On the 40-man, that tells you just how much, there's Eddie's. That tells you just how much the Dodgers, how high they are in both Eddie's right there and Yorbit Vivas that you saw in this video. So here's a question. If the Dodgers need to bring up an outfielder, do they just bring Andy Pajes straight up for AA? Because he's a right-handed stick, you know, looking at Drew Avens and Ryan Ward and Steven Duggar and Bradley Zimmer, all left-handed sticks at the AAA level. So, hey, if you bring up an outfielder and you need a right-handed stick, it would be Andy Pajes, and boy, he is absolutely just on fire. He had 2 more hits last night. He's reached base. Okay, sit down and check this out. He reached base 19 of 25 times in 19 of his 25 plate appearances so far in this series against Midland. Of course, the minor league series are all 6 games, so you start on Tuesday, you end on Sunday, and so far in this series, he has reached base in 19 of his 25 plate appearances against the Rockhounds. That is amazing. He's hitting .458. His OPS is .1497. He's 8 for 14 with 2 home runs, 10 RBI, 16 total bases, 8 runs scored just in this series. I mean, it's almost like he's playing slow pitch beer league softball, and they're just lobbing it up there for him to hit, but yet it's AA pitching that is 95, 96 with good off-speed stuff. That's just simply how talented Andy Pages is. He is making AA pitching look that easy. You know, the Dodgers brought back Yusniel Diaz that they traded away just a couple of years ago, and Diaz actually hit a home run in his first at-bat back with the organization. He got hurt, so the Dodgers sent down Bryson Brigman down to AA, who they acquired over the offseason. Boy, and Brigman, it didn't take him a while to make his mark with AA Tulsa. He went 3 for 4. He got on base 4 times. He drove in a run. He scored a run. Brigman's a very, very, very good athlete. He's a middle infielder. Again, he was signed last month to a free agency contract and to out of free agency to a minor league contract. And like we saw right here, lots of tools, very fast, good hit tool, very competitive, lots of energy. So Bryson Brigman had a big night last night for AA Tulsa. The Dodgers have so many highly rated prospects and so many guys that are, just so talented that it's very easy to be underrated in this organization. Guys like Justin Yurchek, and this guy that you're looking at here, especially on the pitching side. There's just a ton of guys like Kyle Hurt and Jordan Leisure, Lyle Lockhart Jr., John Rooney, all those guys that are so underrated. This guy right here, Emil Vargas, he might be the most underrated player in the entire organization. This dude can hit, man. I mean, he can really, really, really hit. He was the best hitter in the Midwest League last year, with High A Great Lakes, and he's off to another good start. Vargas went 2 for 4 last night, 4 RBIs. He got on base 3 times. That's the thing about him, too, is that he led the Midwest League in on-base percentage last year. He led the Midwest League in on-base percentage the second half of 2021. So he absolutely gets on base. Check this out, okay? To back up what I'm saying, his on-base percentage so far this year in AA, which is there's a lot of great pitchers and a lot of great stuff in AA. His on-base percentage is .526. Wow. And his OPS is 1312. He's hitting .357. So like I said, he's a really good offensive player. He gets on base. He drives in runs. He can hit home runs. He can do a little bit of it all. So Emil Vargas, very, very, very underrated. Put him on your radar. Okay, I tweeted this out. Cole Percival, okay, big and long, 5 pitches. I think maybe someday he might end up being a starter, but the Dodgers like to take guys like Percival that are close to 100 and put him in the pen because then he can max out all of his stuff. There's his changeup you just saw right there. And when a guy like Cole Percival maxes stuff out, the next thing you know, he's hitting triple digits. This is my bold statement. I think he's going to hit 100 this year. Okay, he hit 99 last year, and I say somewhat bold prediction because he did hit 99 last year. He's very long. He worked very hard in the offseason. So I think he's going to hit 100 this year. Cole Percival, he's been used in high leverage situations, 5 pitches, so he could be used anything from a starter to a bulk inning guy to he's great in the high leverage situations. He handles those moments just beautifully. And so, hey, Cole Percival, he's long. He has the great bloodlines. His dad, obviously, is, one of the best closers in the history of the game of baseball. He's long. He's very hardworking. He's a wonderful young man. He throws almost 100 miles an hour. What's not to like about Cole Percival? We talk about guys that are underrated. He is certainly one of them. I don't know how that could be, with his size and his 100-mile-an-hour fastball and his bloodlines. But, hey, Cole Percival, look out for him because, he's in AA right now and close to 100 miles an hour. I've talked about this guy a couple of different occasions. Alex Freeland, shortstop, went to UCF, got a chance to see him quite a bit. Look at the opposite field power. I'm telling you, this guy's big time. Trust me on this. Alex Freeland is absolutely big time. I've said it a couple times. His tools are big time. One being power that you saw right here. I'm just telling you, the power that Alex Freeland has, it's impressive. Unless you've seen it, with your own eyes, you just don't understand. That power right there, is massively impressive. When he hits a home run, he hits the type of, he has the type of power, like when he hits it, you're talking about professionals that see the biggest and best dudes take batting practice every day. He has the type of power that when he hits a home run, even his teammates and the other team go, wow, that was pretty impressive. So Alex Freeland, I am so high on him. He was picked in the third round. Again, third round is high, don't get me wrong, but to me, he has even better talent than that. I am that high on him. Okay, he hit 11 home runs with UCF. Last year's OPS was 989, so Alex Freeland, big-time shortstop prospect in the Dodgers organization. Orlando Ortiz Mayer had a good outing for Great Lakes. He went 3 scoreless innings. He struck out 3, gave up 2 hits. Fastball was 93. There's that good little slider pitch. It's off-speed. That was about 88 miles an hour right there. So when you're seeing his fastball, you're seeing about 93. There's that changeup. That's at about 85, and then he has another slower breaking ball at about 82. So Ortiz Mayer, he has good off-speed. He knows how to change speeds. He look at that changeup fall off the table. So there's a good look at Orlando Ortiz Mayer. A couple changeups back to back. Ismael Alcantara had 2 hits yesterday for Great Lakes. Very talented outfielder. One of the things that's a dead giveaway that tips me off. Not necessarily the scouts, the people that I like to talk to as far as the talent in the organization are the other players. And when the players that you've played with, when they just unanimously say, hey, this dude has a lot of talent, watch out for this guy, he's the real deal, and they make comments like that about the guy, which several guys I've talked to have made that comment about Ismael Alcantara. Okay, that means that it is absolutely legit. He had 2 hits yesterday. Like I said, very talented. He's been in the system since 2017. He posted at 954 OPS. During his short stint, I got to see him in AA Tulsa last year, so Ismael Alcantara. Griffin Lockwood Powell, they call him Lock, had a good day yesterday for the Loons, the Central Michigan alum, and you got to know that he is one of the few that is used to the weather. I think it was nice yesterday, but it's been kind of cold with Great Lakes. I always enjoy watching especially the international players try to function in the cold weather of Michigan. Okay, this is his second year, Lockwood Powell, in the organization. He was signed as a free agent out of, like I said, Central Michigan University. Quick hands. Okay, watch his swing. Very quick hands. Absolutely zero wasted movement. He tracks the ball very, very well. That tells me first, look, his head doesn't move at all. Just kind of uses his hands to take the path to the baseball very quick, and then absolutely very, very, look how little of movement there is here. I like that, which allows his head to stay still, his eyes to stay still, which allows him to track the baseball. Okay, I mentioned yesterday that I did not have video of Jake Polarski in yesterday's Dodgers Daily video, so I wanted to make sure to include it this year because, boy, look at that slider. He hit 100 miles an hour, and it was the first time that Dayton, just the facility, the people in Dayton, the organization of the Dayton Dragons had seen 100 miles an hour in their facility. Look at that slider in a while. So, hey, I wanted to show you the 100-mile-an-hour fastball of Jake Polarski, the slider, and then also I'd want to show you, just watch, he is a dog, and I mean dog, D-A-W-G. He has that competitive dog in him with the 100-mile-an-hour fastball. Look at that, the energy, the competitiveness. I absolutely love Jake. As a matter of fact, if you can hear my voice right now, well, obviously you can if you're listening. I'm getting excited just watching his energy on the mound. I love watching Jake Polarski. Wonderful story. Again, he went Division III Virginia Wesleyan out of high school. Then he transferred to the Citadel after he got the 2020 COVID season back for college eligibility. So he went to the Citadel. He was the Friday night starter there. Did not get drafted. Okay, and it was, after the 2020 draft was only 5 rounds. Then, there were a lot of great college baseball players that were quality enough to be affiliated players, but because the draft is only 5 rounds, there weren't very many jobs available. A lot of those guys were told to go independent ball, something of which he was told as well. Okay, so he went indie. He played with 2 different indie ball teams and went to Tread Athletics, started working out and started hitting triple digits. And then one of the scouts that knew him from his past, Jonah Rosenthal, finally pulled the trigger and recommended him to the Dodgers. They signed him, and here we go, Jake Polarski hitting 100 miles an hour. Catching depth in the organization is insane. This is Yainer Fernandez. Just wanted to throw a video in there of him throwing out a runner. I'm going to have to back this up. I don't know exactly what's wrong with this, but we're going to keep doing that. So there is Yander Fernandez, great versatility. He can play anywhere in the, basically he can play second base. He could probably play third base, probably play outfield if you need him to, but also a very good catcher. Rancho Cucamonga Quakes scored 2 in the 4th, 2 in the 6th, and then 8th in the 7th inning. They absolutely opened up a can on the Visalia Rawhide to win 12-4 in Visalia. Again, this is a 6-game series. They will finish their series today being Sunday. You're looking at Thyron Lorenzo, who has had home runs in back-to-back nights. His average up to 308. His OPS 1130. When he hits a home run, just go check his home run out from last night and then this one as well. Very, very impressive. If you watch his swing, I think we're going to get a replay of it here in just a second. A little bit of Juan Soto. Watch this right here. Yep, it got paused, but we're going to see it here in just a minute. We'll go back to my videos on him, and it kind of has a little bit of Juan Soto in his swing. I'm not saying he's going to be the next Juan Soto or anything, but it has a little bit of that style of swing to him. So, hey, there's Thyron Lorenzo with his second home run and consecutive day. From a mechanical perspective, look how still, and then he just kind of uses his core, which is the strongest part of your body, to let everything rotate around your core. If you're to build a swing, take video of Chris Newell and just copy that swing. If you have a young kid out there that needs to learn how to swing the bat, that will allow him to be very powerful. Look how still that is. Head stays still, no wasted movement. And you want your young kid to have the perfect swing, in my opinion, get a lot of video of Chris Newell, because his swing is absolutely perfect. His head stays still. He's 100% centered at his weight. Look at that. Just absolutely perfect. No wasted movement. He doesn't lunge forward. He doesn't fall back. He stays centered in his weight. And then he just uses his core muscles to let everything rotate around them. But his core muscles is what's actually driving through the baseball. And then the rest of his body is just kind of rotating around that. Now imagine, trying to open a lid on a jar. Okay, are you going to turn the base of it to open that jar, or are you going to turn the top of it to open that jar? That's Chris Newell. Watch. He anchors that lower half of his body, and he opens that lid to that jar by rotating the top of his body around that anchor like you would if you're opening that lid, like I said, to a jar. So that's just a wonderful rotational type mechanical swing for Chris Newell. So whoever taught him absolutely knows how to teach hitting. I need to talk to this guy because it's absolutely fantastic. And it's given him a lot of power and the ability to also hit for average. He homered again last night. The night before, on Friday night, he homered to left field, the opposite field. Last night was to dead center. This young man out of Virginia, Chris Newell, great swing. I like watching him swing the bat. He's a big-time base stealer. Watch out for this guy. He's another one of those guys the Dodgers picked up that, hey, people might go, hey, who's this guy? Where'd he come from? Chris Newell, really, really good player. Juan Alonso had 2 hits last night for Rancho. He has hits in 3 of his last 4 games. Alonso, 19-year-old, out of Panama. Those Panama guys like Jose Ramos, they have some lift in their swing, so they're going to hit some home runs. Watch this lift. See how his hands lift up? When I say lift, I'm talking about the path of his hands. If you watch that again, matter of fact, I'm going to replay this. Watch his hands and watch how they lift through the baseball. Jose Ramos does the same thing. It must be, of course, they're both from Panama. See that lift right there? They're both from Panama, so I would imagine, that's kind of how they teach hitting there. I don't know that for a fact, but just kind of putting 2 and 2 together, that's what I've seen from both him and Ramos. That leads to a lot of these rollovers right there, where you take that outside pitch and you roll over it and hit a ground ball to the left side. It also leads to a lot of massive home runs. So I think, Juan Alonso, he's going to have some swing and miss with that lift. He's going to have some rollover, but then he's also going to have some massive type home run type potential as well. I talked about the swing left-handed of Chris Newell. Jesus Scalise has one of my favorite swings in the entire organization. He's one of my favorite players. I talk about every time I have a chance to cover him. What a wonderful young man. He lost his dad to COVID in 2020, and he was so close to his dad. His dad took him around traveling to play baseball. He gives him credit for a lot of, just who he is to this day, and he dedicated his entire season in 2021 to his dad. I'm sure he still dedicates every game he ever plays to his dad, like I said, that he lost to COVID in 2020. 19-year-old out of Venezuela, wonderful young man. He has worked his tail off to learn English, and he is actually pretty good at it, and he has become a pretty affluent English speaker. another young, very talented catcher in the Dodgers system. This is a good look at 21-year-old Jorge Puerta that is in the line of another great catching prospect. So, on this Rancho team, you have Jesus Calix, you have Jorge Puerta, both really good catchers. Puerta is from Tolu, Colombia. I think I said that right. Don't quote me on that. I don't know the exact pronunciation on that. I'm just reading it. Tolu, I think is how you say that, though. And if you remember the last Colombian, at least the last Colombian I remember, was big Guillermo Zuniga, who the Dodgers allowed to slip off to free agency this past offseason. He was signed by the St. Louis Cardinals. Guillermo Zuniga, if you remember, in the World Baseball Classic, had a huge World Baseball Classic for Colombia, was actually hitting 101 with his fastball, had the dirty slider, and was performing very well. So, one thing's for sure about young men that are from Colombia, they're going to be very family-oriented. They're going to be great people, and the people back home in Colombia are going to be huge fans of theirs, and they will follow them lockstep all along the way. So there's a good look at Jorge Puerta. Jermaine Rosario last year was kind of that unbroke bull to where, hey, that unbroke bull, the fastest, the most aggressive, there's absolutely no fear. So they're liable to win the race by, a large bit because they have no fear and they just keep running, and they're very fast, very athletic. But then they're also liable to get off the tracks and head up to Canada and end up somewhere in Canada. Who knows with an unbroke horse. That's kind of Jermaine Rosario last year, not this year. We're going to get to that here in a minute. Hey, last year when he was in the strike zone, he was fantastic. His stuff is really, really good. It's explosive. You can see the arm side run to it. It's got good velo to it. He has the good off-speed stuff. Look at that run to the arm side for Jermaine Rosario. There's that really good tight slider. Great pitch for him. So, hey, when he's in the strike zone, he is extremely, extremely good. Matter of fact, he has 12 strikeouts this year. That ought to show you how explosive his stuff is. But here's the big deal. Only one walk. And so his control's been good, and he's been very hard to hit when he's been in the zone. His average against is just 171. His whip is just 0.78. His ERA is just 1.00. So there you have it. There's our show for you today. Again, 4-1 in the system. And the big one, the Los Angeles Dodgers at the top got the victory. And that's always the one that you want. So it was a very, very, very successful day in the system. And I hope you enjoyed it. And I hope you tune in tomorrow. Hey, before we get out of here, just one more reminder. Hey, if you would like to donate to Dodgers Daily, the link is in the description. Again, just follow that link and you can donate right there to help Dodgers Daily continue growing. Also, if you like this video and if you like this kind of content, go ahead and click that like button, leave a comment, tell all your friends about Dodgers Daily, and subscribe. After you subscribe, make sure and turn on those notifications. That way, each time Dodgers Daily releases a new video, you'll be notified, and Dodgers Daily can keep growing. As always, I'd like to thank you for tuning in and say, Go Dodgers!